Hello everyone. Now we are seeing an experiment known as performance test on multi-cylinder CI engine. The aim of this experiment is to determine the performance characteristic of a 4-stroke multi-cylinder diesel engine. The operators required to perform this experiments are a 4-stroke diesel engine test rig, a stopwatch, and the fuel. The procedure to be followed are: check the fuel in the tank, switch on the power supply and console, and ensure ignition switch is on. Keep the load switches in off position initially. Allow the diesel flow by operating the knob and start the engine by cranking. Run the engine at no load conditions. Note down the time taken for 10 cc consumption of diesel and apply the load or vary the load by using hydraulic loading or dynamometer. Now the speed of the engine will reduce as the load increases. So note down the speed, note down the time taken for 10 cc of fuel consumption, as well as note down the temperatures at various points and the height of air column with the help of manometer. Repeat the procedure 4 to 5 times for different loads. Tabulate the corresponding readings. Once the experiment is over, keep the fuel control valve in closed position and switch off the console and power supply. So various observations will be taken accordingly. The serial number, loading, time taken, speed in RPM, height of water column with the help of manometer, then mass of fuel, brake power, BSFC, brake thermal efficiency, volume of air, mass of air, air fuel ratio. So different observations will be tabulated. So you can see the terminologies used in engine RPM. HW is difference in manometer heading, mass of fuel, like that various terminologies is mentioned here. And similarly the calculations, the BSFC, the formula MF by BP, brake thermal efficiency, then volume of air, CD, quotient of discharge, in area of orifice. So all this, so you can see with respect to the calculations part, which is very much required to know the performance of any engine. So the volumetric efficiency, VA by VS, the air fuel ratio, the mass of air by mass of fuel. So different formulas will be used here to find out the each and individual parameters of the engine. So after drawing that, you may plot the graph, the fuel consumption, SFC, specific fuel consumption, brake thermal efficiency, volumetric efficiency, and air fuel ratio, all versus load or brake power. So these indications will show where our performance of the engine lies. So the fuel consumption or any parameters which may increase or which may decrease accordingly with respect to the brake power or load. The results can be said like this: the 4-stroke diesel engine has been successfully conducted and the readings have been tabulated. So once you know all the graphs will be plotted, then afterwards we can come to conclusion. So it may the parameters which is mentioned in an engine like SFC or air fuel ratio, all these parameters is increasing or decreasing with respect to load. So this is called as the performance test of the multi-cylinder diesel engine. Thank you. Hello everyone. Now we are conducting an experiment called as performance test of a multi-cylinder diesel engine. The engine is started with the help of self-start. Once the engine is started, allow the water to flow inside the hydraulic dynamometer. Once the engine is started, also you need to take care with respect to the maintaining of constant RPM or speed by rotating the RPM valve. So around 1300 or 1400 RPM is maintained as constant. Then now we are increasing the load by rotating the wheel which is attached to the hydraulic dynamometer. This opposes the shaft where the engine RPM will be decreased. So for this process, once the load is increased and the speed is decreased, at that moment how much the fuel has been consumed, that is, you can notice here by using a stopwatch. You need to record the time for 10 cc of fuel consumption, how much time it has been taken. So if you know the time consumed for 10 cc of fuel consumption, you can measure the fuel consumption rate. That you can notice with respect to the burette, where you can see here the fuel has been decreasing and what is the time taken for that fuel consumption. Then also you need to take the reading of the U-tube manometer, the water level, which is required to find out the mass of air. Then we need to find the different temperature as well, the air inlet temperature by using the digital thermometer. The water temperature, then the exhaust temperature is pretty much required. So all these temperatures will be later used for calculating the heat balance sheet.